Good morning. Dear friends, cracking our dream job is ever beautiful and very glad to us. Now, in front of us, there is a wonderful moment that Kerala PSC has notified for HST posts. But the notification for HST in languages is very near to us. So, to become a good teacher, we need equally both the qualification, quality and the content. The qualification and quality are always with us, but the content is very special to us, that we are going to appear for the competitive examination. So, to be a teacher, to be a good teacher, we must be content and thorough in our syllabus and our subjects. So, we must be studied and content. So, dear friends, today we are going to study and crack the exam HST English. And it will be conducted by Kerala PSC soon. Actually, the Kerala PSC didn't gazette for this examination, but some of our printing media showcase it will be notified soon. In our syllabus, we have two parts to study, Part A and Part B. Part A is of common or general, and Part B is our core course. In Part A, there are 3 modules. The first one is the Renaissance and Freedom Movement. The second one is GK and Current Affairs. And the third one is the methodology of teaching the subject. Then, in the Part B, we have 8 modules. First one is poetry. And this is a collection of 23 poetry. Poetry is the collection of 23 poetry. The second module is drama. And this is the collection of 10 plays. The third module is prose and fiction, which contains 12 works. Module 4 is the literary criticism and literary terms. The fifth one is linguistics, phonetics and history of language. Here also we have 12 topics. The sixth one is modern English usage. It contains 10 topics. In the 7th module, we have to study basic grammar. The 7th module is the basic grammar. Here also 10 topics to study. And the last and 8th module is the teaching of English. Under this module, we will study 10 topics. So, dear friends, let's get into Part B at first. And our today's topic is William Shakespeare's sonnet number 121. Sonnet, the origin and background. Sonnet is a short lyric and subjective poem of 14 rhymed lines of firstly 8-line octave and the secondly or lastly 6-line sestet. Sonnet is a short poem and which is a lyric poem, and this is a subjective poem. So there are three characteristics. Which are them? This is very short poem, very short, and this is lyric, and this is subjective. So short, lyric and subjective. And this is a 14-lined poem. 14-lined poem. That means this sonnet or this poetic form contains only 14 lines, which are rhymed, which are highly rhythmic. And there are two parts. First one is octave and the second one is sestet. The first 8-lined part is called octave. In octave we can see 8 lines, and in sestet we can see 6 lines. In sestet we can see 6 lines. So the 6-lined part is sestet and the first 8-lined part is octave. The theme is the romance or courtly love of nobility and chivalry. The theme of the sonnet is romance or romantic love or courtly love of nobility or chivalry. Nobility means the love of nobles, and the chivalry is related to soldiers. Both are the representatives of the high blood. And this is a strictly metric literary form. Sonnet has a strictly metric form. So sonnet is a strictly metric literary form. That means the structure and texture of the sonnet are highly metric. The texture and the structure of the sonnet are highly metric. Whatever it may be, it expresses the emotion of the poet. The sonnet expresses, the sonnet presents the emotion of the poet. Actually, the origin of the poetic form sonnet has not strictly determined. That means we don't know where and what and how is the origin of sonnet exactly. That is why it is says that the origin of the sonnet is not strictly determined. But some theories suggest two possible sources, which are the Sicily and Provence. The first possible source is Sicily and the second one is Provence. Sicily is the largest island in the Mediterranean Sea and which is located in southern Italy. Sicily is the largest island in the Mediterranean Sea. Sicilian is the language in Sicily. The language in Sicily is Sicilian. Now, Sicily is a Romance language. Even it is a minority language as per the record of UNESCO. UNESCO says this is a minority language. UNESCO says Sicily is a minority language, but this is a Romance language. In literary, we can say that this is a Romance language. Whatever it is, sonnet is cited firstly in the later half of 13th century. The sonnet is cited firstly in the later half of 13th century. This is as per the words of B. Prasad in his famous book, A Background to the Study of English Literature. The term sonnet is derived from Middle French sonnet. Sonnet is derived from Middle French term sonnet, and this is from Italian sonetto. Sonnet is from Italian term sonetto, which means little sound or strain. Sonetto means little sound or strain. Strain means music or song. Strain is the music or song. And this sonetto is from Old Occitan or Old Provincial sonnet, meaning a song. This sonetto is from Old Occitan, Old Provincial sonnet, S-O-N-E-T, sonnet, meaning a song. Its diminutive form is son, S-O-N, son, which means song or sound. Which means son means song or sound, and which is from Latin word sonus, which means sound. Some studies and sources spot that the poetic form sonnet is originated at the court of Frederick II, the Holy Roman Emperor in 13th century. So what is Holy Roman Emperor? Roman Empire became Holy Roman Empire. Roman Empire became Holy Roman Empire. When onwards Charles Magny was crowned by the Pope in 799 or in 800. The reason for the change in name from Roman Empire to Holy Roman Empire is after the crowning of Charles Magny done by the Pope, which is happened either 799 or in 800. In Frederick II's court, there was a notary or a lawyer poet, Giacomo da Lentini or Jacopo da Lentini. In Frederick II's court, there was a notary or a lawyer poet whose name is Giacomo da Lentini, in another term Jacopo da Lentini. In a way, Lentini is credited with the invention of sonnet to cite courtly love of nobility or chivalry. Lentini used writing sonnet to record or to present the courtly love of nobility or chivalry. And then the Sicilian school of poets around him spread this poetic form everywhere. And this is the Sicilian school of poets who spread this sonnet or this poetic form around them, or towards the different areas. But the Sicilian language didn't get a proper reach. The sonnet was written in Sicilian language, but the reach of this language, the reach of Sicilian language, was very low or very poor. Then the sonnet was survived when it was translated into Tuscan dialect by Guittone di Arezzo. So it was Guittone di Arezzo who translated the sonnet from Sicilian language to Tuscan dialect. Tuscan is the language in Tuscany. Tuscany is located, or Tuscany is the central Italy. And its regional capital is Florence. Florence is a city. So, Tuscan is actually a mixture form of Italo-Dalmatian or Romance language spoken in Italy, Corsica and Dalmatia. Actually, Tuscan language or Tuscan dialect is a mixture form, and this is a mixture form of Italo-Dalmatian language, or this is a Romance language spoken in the Italo-Dalmatian mixture is spoken in Italy, Corsica and Dalmatia. Florentine is the standard dialect in Italy. The standard dialect in Italy is Florentine. So what do you mean by dialect? As we know, dialect is the variation of same language, or the different style or different form of same language. That can be seen in the case of our mother tongue, Malayalam also. Malayalam is the language of Kerala. From Trivandrum to Kasaragod, we use Malayalam. This is our mother tongue. But the pronunciation and the usage and the style of using the terms are entirely different. Trivandrum Malayalam is different from Kottayam Malayalam, and Kottayam Malayalam is different from Ernakulam, or Ernakulam Malayalam is different from Calicut or Malappuram, whatever it may be, the same language but variations, but difference. So this type of difference of a same language is called a dialect. So Florentine is the standard dialect in Italy. In these variations, only one will become the standard dialect, the standard form. And this will become the official language of the area. This is, in Kerala, we use the standard dialect as Kottayam Malayalam. Even though the Malayalam scriptures and the usage are originated in Malappuram district, and this is done by Eഴുത്തച്ഛൻ. That is why we call him the father of Malayalam language. And Malayalam is originated in Tiruthunjanparam. This is located in Malappuram district. But before a decade, or before 1 or 2 decades, the language of Malappuram was entirely different. But now all are educated and sophisticated. That is why now we use, now the people from Malappuram district use the standard variety of Malayalam. So Florentine is the standard dialect in Italy, which is the language of the culture in Italy. And Florentine is the language of the culture in Italy. Italian culture is described or we can see in Florentine language. In Malayalam we can see the culture of Kerala or the culture of Malayali. That same like Florentine is the cultural language in Italy, or the language of culture in Italy is Florentine. And it is the Tuscan based dialect. This is a Tuscan based dialect. And later it became the official language of Kingdom of Italy. And it became the official language of the Kingdom of Italy. Dante Alighieri, Franz Petrarch and Giovanni Boccaccio did their works in this dialect. So we can say that it became very standard that a language will be more powerful if it is enriched with more and more literary forms or literature. It was Guittone di Arezzo who introduced the sonnet into Tuscany and adapted into Tuscan when he founded the Tuscan School or Guittonian School of Poetry. And from the Sicilian dialect or language to the Tuscan dialect or Tuscan language, the sonnet is reached by Guittone di Arezzo. So Guittone di Arezzo brought or translated the Sicilian sonnet into Tuscan dialect, and he introduced the sonnet into Tuscany. And there is a school of poetry related to Guittone di Arezzo, which is Tuscan School or Guittonian School of Poetry. Guittone di Arezzo has written 250 sonnets. Guittone di Arezzo has written 250 sonnets. 250 sonnets. Dante Alighieri and Guido Cavalcanti were other prime sonneteers in that time. In that time, there were other prime sonneteers also. They are Dante Alighieri and Guido Cavalcanti. But the most famous is Francesco Petrarch, or simply called Franz Petrarch or Petrarch. And then the another one is Michelangelo. And the most famous was Francis Petrarch and Michelangelo. It is our Franz Petrarch, the ever prime sonneteer. Franz Petrarch is ever prime sonneteer. And who is a lyric poet, who was a lyric poet in 14th century in Italy. In the 14th century Italy, Franz Petrarch was a lyrical poet. That is why Italian sonnets are always termed as Petrarchan sonnets or classical sonnets. Italian sonnets also called as Petrarchan sonnets and classical sonnets. The source indicates that he has written more than 300 sonnets and dedicated to Laurel. The sources indicate that Franz Petrarch has written more than 300 sonnets and he dedicated all these sonnets to Laura, his beloved. The critics opine that his Laura is Laura de Neus of Avignon. The background blossom this love is at the St. Clare Church in Avignon, where he first met her. So Laura is Laura de Neus of Avignon. After that, because of pure love, she has appeared in his poetry as the ever Dedicatee, and it became a lifelong obsession to Petrarch. Some sources say that Petrarch has written more than 300 sonnets. Some other sources say that he has written 317 sonnets, and some other sources say that he has written Petrarch has written 366 sonnets. Whatever it is, he has written more than 300 sonnets. Petrarch has written more than 300 sonnets. All these sonnets are dedicated to his beloved Laura. Laura is the Laura de Neus of Avignon. All the sonnets he wrote are classified as two. The first one is rhyme in vite Laura and the rhyme in morte Laura. Among the more than 300 sonnets, 263 sonnets are under the category rhyme in vite Laura, and 103 sonnets are in rhyme in morte Laura. Whatever it is, both these two categories are involved in his sonnet sequence, canzoniere. His sonnet sequence is canzoniere. Italian sonnet is parted as two. Initial 8-line octave and the flowing 6-line sestet. So the Italian poetry has two parts, octave and sestet. Octave contains 8 lines and in sestet we can see 6 lines. Octave brings a proposition of a problem, a question or an argument, and the octave is of 2 quatrains. In octave we can see that a proposition of a problem or a question or an argument, and the octave is written as 2 quatrains. A quatrain is 4-lined stanza. A quatrain is a 4-lined stanza. So the octave contains 2 quatrains. That means 2 into 4 is 8. So the octave is of 8 lines. Sestet is of 2 tercets and proposing the resolution of the problem in octave. In sestet, we can see the resolution for the problem in octave, or the resolution for the question or argument in octave. And the sestet is written as 2 tercets. Tercet is a stanza of 3 lines, or the bundle of, or the bunches of 3 lines is called tercets. Tercets contains only 3 lines. Quatrain contains only 4 lines. The octave is written as 2 quatrains, that means in 8 lines, and the sestet is written as 2 tercets, which means 6 lines. The initial line of sestet, or the 9th line in a sonnet, is called VOLTA. That there we can see a turn in the thought, because here we can see a well marked pause or a caesura. It may be written as by using a punctuation or putting a space. VOLTA always falls in the 9th line in the Italian sonnet. In Italian sonnet, VOLTA is always falls in the 9th line. The structural rhyme scheme of Petrarchan sonnet is ABBA, ABBA as 2 quatrains in octave. The rhyme scheme in octave is ABBA, ABBA as in 2 quatrains. ABBA in a quatrain and ABBA another quatrain. So the octave, the rhyme scheme of the octave is ABBA, ABBA. And CDE, CDE, or in some case CDC, CDC is the rhyme scheme in sestet. Sestet as 2 tercets. The rhyme scheme in sestet is CDE, CDE, or in some case CDC, CDC. The metrical pattern of Petrarchan sonnet is the iambic pentameter. Petrarchan sonnet use iambic pentameter, and the metrical pattern of Petrarchan sonnet or Italian sonnet or the classical sonnet, iambic pentameter. And this was the traditional pattern of poetry and verse drama also. Iambic pentameter was the traditional pattern of poetry and verse drama once. Iamb is a foot. Iamb is a foot of 2 syllables, as unstressed and stressed. Iamb is a foot of 2 syllables. These syllables are, first one is unstressed and the second one is stressed. Penta means 5. Penta means 5. So, iambic pentameter. As in decasyllabic verse, the Italian sonnet also is of 10-syllabled or 10-syllabic lines. In a foot, we can see 2 syllables. And 5 foot means 5 into 2, that means 10 syllables. So, the Italian sonnet is of 10-syllabled line. In Italian sonnet, we can see 10-syllabled lines. This is just like the decasyllabic verse. The next topic is the types of sonnets. Primarily, there are 4 types of sonnets. Petrarchan or classical sonnets, Shakespearean sonnet, Spenserian sonnets, and Miltonic sonnet. The first one is Petrarchan or classical sonnet. This is the variety consists of octave and sestet, as two quatrains and two tercets. Quatrains means 4 lines, tercets means 3 lines. And the rhyme scheme of Petrarchan sonnet is ABBA in octave, and CDE or in some case CDC in sestet. The second one is the Shakespearean sonnet. This variety is of 3 quatrains and a couplet. Couplet is 2 lines, stanza of 2 lines. The rhyme scheme is AB, CD, EF, and GG. The rhyme scheme of Shakespearean sonnet is AB, CD, EF, and GG. The third one is Spenserian sonnet. It is of 3 quatrains and a couplet, just as in Shakespearean sonnet, but the rhyme scheme is more challenging when comparing the other. The rhyme scheme of Spenserian sonnet is AB, BC, CD, and EE. The last one is Miltonic sonnet. Here the sonnet received a new phase and space because it became either non-secular but spiritual or in the range of human feelings and experience. Even though Miltonic variety keeps Petrarchan rhyme scheme, there is no break between octave and sestet. That means he merged the sonnet into one 14-line stanza. So his poem is a single stanza of 14 lines.